wants to go live. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop.
Hello.
It's, of course, June 18th.
It is the 18th.
Yeah. Another week gone by. More of June.
June came and went.
Look, the big thing about the end of June is I will be, as much as I love her, free for my niece for a month because she's going to go visit her grandmother in Tennessee for a month for summer. And she'll have a really good time. And won't be hanging around
quiet.
the house. And she won't be hanging around the house for a month of the summer.
You'll get that sweet quiet time.
I mean, like, during the school year is okay. But summer is like just actual quiet time. Oh, I hope everybody's week's been going well. I had adventures in Cardum a lot this week. I had a tire blowout in a situation that I don't think it should have, but I believe I did. It was like, right spot, right angle, right everything, in a situation where there was a possibility of an accident. I moved over and got through a crossing. On the other side, still going fairly slow because it was a shopping center, hit a little bit of the curve.
Ah.
Blowout.
Nice. Lovely.
Oh, yeah. That was good.
Love when that happens.
That's like, it's $100 for a tire, let alone all the other charges. And then yesterday, I had to go get the airbag replaced, and I think on the passenger's airbag, because when it deflated, apparently the sudden release of air when it's deflated also threw out metal shards.
Yeah, that's a problem that happens sometimes.
So it was a defective one, so I could do that for free. But a 2-hour journey turned into, I picked it up this morning.
Oof.
So that was a great thing.
I just had a busy week. That's been about it.
Oh,
busy work, summertime graduation. Everyone wants their catering.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a lot of party times around now.
Mm-hmm. Summer is great for it. Good business, but I'm always busy.
People like their parties.
Work,
yeah.
COVID break.
More of them. It's around. It's the unfortunate thing that
they stay out there, people.
People forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have some topics to talk about. It feels like a lot of them, but there will be a couple of short ones in here, So we'll play it by ear, and then I'll throw the deeper discussion in. So I guess let's just start at the beginning, which is More Magic Fine is what I called it, and that's because they just had their Commander Legends Baldur's Gate set.
That actually came out. I forgot.
I don't know if it actually came out. But guess what? It's time for another round of releases because it's Double Masters 2022 now.
All right. I'm just gonna open up Magic the Gathering Twitter.
Look, I at least was nice enough to look through what they've showed in the Double Masters card image gallery, in which the only a couple of them I know are honestly because I do follow a few Magic YouTubers and see their kind of stuff to get some updates and stuff like Tolarian Academy and things, and it's this weird thing of a couple of things that were suggested to this would be great for the Commander Legends set are in the Double Master set.
Nice, dude.
The Commander base set could really use these things. No, let's put it in the Double Master set because we can charge more money for that. Because we have these mystical packs that have 2 rares, so they're 3 times the price.
I don't really buy Magic stuff outside of sets because it's just an expensive hobby.
I can't do it anymore either. These things have been the straw that I've been nah, I can't.
It's like getting priced out for some of this shit.
Oh yeah,
it's expensive.
I can keep up with the sets, and that's still barely.
Yeah, sets, as long as they don't release as many as they did that one year, usually it's fine. Like 4 sets a year, that's good. I can do that.
Yeah, because you could get that for like $100 a piece. That's
Yeah, it's $100 every couple of months.
Yeah, that's not terrible for like a hobby. Gonna be honest, there are much more expensive hobbies.
Warhammer.
Yes, I was leaving that one on the end, but there's also other like more expensive. Like Warhammer is the top one. Art collection. There you go.
Art, yeah.
Ooh. Even if it's not like super expensive art, you could go for like art collection that probably be like $50 to $100 pieces a piece.
Yeah, art's expensive, dude.
It's just expensive.
I mean, like, the cards I see are, like, fine. I don't really care about any of them personally.
Like I see there's Dockside Extortionist, which is one I remembered from, that was being mentioned as, it's a Commander staple. And you look at it, it's a really good one. You know, it's, you get treasure tokens for the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. That's great in Commander, which is normally multiplayer.
Commander,
yeah. And treasure tokens, good. You can sacrifice them for a mana. I mean, honestly, I understand why that's a really expensive card, and in a lot of Commander decks, it's getting a reprint here, not the Commander set. Where it could have been in one of the Commander decks.
Right.
Doesn't have to be in the normal thing because it's all like Baldur's Gate flavored. Or just make a Baldur's Gate flavored version of this. Like, change the image to, like, you know, like a goblin pirate that's hanging out in Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate's is that in Port City? I think it's Port City. It is. It's like on the coast or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I only know Neverwinter. I don't know much about Baldur's Gate.
I know Neverwinter and Waterdeep are both coastal.
I don't know if Baldur's Gate's a coastal city or not. Couldn't tell you.
The problem is it's really hard to look up like the actual information. There it is. The Grey Harbor is one of its aliases. So, yes, it's a coastal city. You could have had a goblin pirate that just had an image that was Baldur's Gate flavored.
Of course it's on the of course it's on the coast because it's mentioned in Lost Mines. Mm-hmm. Lost Mines happens near it.
Ah, that's right. I forgot that happens near it.
Yeah, Phandelver's like a little bit away from it.
It's just that, like, I gotta be honest, like, the more that, even for core set stuff, I can't do all the Commander decks for them anymore. I can't.
No.
I can barely even do, like, well, they're not putting them anymore, like the Fat Packs. They're, like, discontinuing that product line. I would have still gotten those, but they're gone now, so it's like, what's the point of that kind of stuff? I'm buying so much less.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird for me, because I used to be, like, really into Magic the Gathering, and then they started around after the whole War of the Spark stuff is when I stopped really caring and playing, because that's when a lot of stuff started, like, changing and shit. And now it's like, I don't know if I really care enough to get that back into it, outside of, like, maybe a set or two a year.
Yeah, like, interesting sets that seem fun. I can see that. And then, like, after that, it's kind of hard to tell, unfortunately. Yeah. Like, I think it's the thing is, it's too much product vomit. And we're getting more of it now, and I'm just...
Because, like, have the Warhammer ones even come out yet?
The Warhammer one, I don't think has come out, but I don't know their schedule.
I don't know the Commander release schedule.
Let me see here. August 12th. So the Commander ones aren't even out yet. The Commander decks for Warhammer.
Jeez. It's just a little too much.
And Battles for Baldur's Gate, you know when it came out? Last week. Last Friday.
Really? Okay.
And they're already working on the next one.
Yeah, it's just too much product.
Like,
it's too much. I don't know who can afford, like, no one can afford all of these.
It's
well,
sort of,
some people can. Most people can.
The thing is, they're aiming for those people, but those people aren't going to stay in it because it's not a premium thing. It's sort of like, I don't understand their mindset. The idea that they can hook, like, whales like something like a mobile game doesn't work the same way.
It's
or gambling.
They're on that Magic Arena kick and have been for quite some time. Which is a shame because Magic Arena sucks.
Less and less people I know are playing it.
Yeah, most people I know who did play it have stopped at this point.
I know that there are some people that still do some streams of it. They just do some like general drafts, which you can do like without spending money. They don't like do like big tournaments. They just are like, oh, it's the new set. I'm going to draft for like a couple of weeks, and then they're done. You know, and that's it. Just to like, and that's an experience that you can experience the new set, you know, without spending money, and you maybe get some in your digital library, and maybe you'll buy some physical ones also. And I can understand that's not a bad way of doing it, but it's also like, I just don't care enough for that, you know? I like multiplayer as a format, and they don't have it.
Yeah, Arena lacks the modes I like to play at Magic, which is, you know, like the two-headed giant and commander.
Yep.
But that's not an arena, so it doesn't really. I don't like 1v1s. I think they're kind of boring.
Yeah. I mean, like if I need a Magic kick, and that's all I've got, maybe like doing that for a couple of games is fine once in a while. But that's just, you know, oh hey, you know, we got some time to kill. We got some Magic decks. Let's randomly do it. I've done that before with like Joe at like PAX Unplugged. Like, you know, after like, you know, we were having some lunch, and you know, like he's like, oh, I got some, we both have some Magic decks with us. Let's play a few random games, you know, before doing something else, because we don't want to go running around, and you know, you can do that kind of stuff. But you know, I've done that before. But anyway, Double Masters, blah. I don't know.
It's product.
It's product.
Consume product.
It just... I still like the game of Magic, so that's why it kind of makes me sad. I guess it's the...
I like the sets for the most part, but it's all the other stuff that they do I don't like.
Yeah. I think it's sort of like Munchkin and Steve Jackson games. If they had stuck to maybe like... And even that's a lot. One Munchkin set a year of like something different. Just the nature of Munchkin, because you can mix and match sets and stuff like that, and each one of them had the original ones had a lot of quality and were very different, so it would be a different style of play.
I've played the Munchkin I played was older ones. I have not experienced Munchkin in like 10 years.
So like, if they had done that, I would have been much happier with Steve. It's the same kind of thing. Is they have too much product vomit. And for their thing, it's worse because it you know, it's a game that doesn't have the same variety as like a collectible card game. So it's harder for a collectible card game to reach the levels of product vomit. But I think we're reaching it because technically we're getting 6 core sets this year almost. You know, like actual base sets, I would call these. The Commander Legends, the Double Masters, those are full set releases. Now, granted, they may call them something different, but those are actual set releases. Yeah. Plus all, like, the Commander decks, which they're putting out a bajillion of them over the thing, you know. It's just, it's too much product vomit. And all the secret layers, and I think there's also an unset this year. Holy shit.
It's just too much. It's just too much.
Let's talk about Paizo. I feel like talking about something nice. Free RPG Day is a. Let me link the card image gallery if anybody wants to see it. Again, like I can understand. Free RPG Day, and here Paizo has showed off a little bit of their 2-of-1s, which I'm sorry, like okay, the Starfinder adventure, neat. The Pathfinder adventure. A Fistful of Flowers, where you take on the role of 4 Leshy, who have been taken from the woods and are in civilization. You've been kidnapped to a garden, and you're dealing with the most dangerous locations in aristocrat's fancy tea party.
Nice.
And you're Leshy.
Alright.
I just like, oh my god, why is
I like
this?
that they do these silly ones.
It's like you could. They're so good. They just do these like little like adventures that are like they're really a little silly, but they're also like well done.
Yeah.
You know. Man. This is certainly what makes me happy about Paizo and their work every time I see it. So
They're more creative and they're willing to do silly things.
yeah. It'll be out. Free RPG Day is next week on the 25th.
Yeah, it's 25th.
Mm-hmm. So, copies will be available for sale, and you can download the PDF for free at Paizo.com.
Yeah.
So, like, if I wanted to just randomly decide, I'm going to do this next Saturday evening, which actually, that might be something to do. Maybe I'll be like, hey, do we want to get, like, 4 people together and just...
Do a little Pathfinder 2e?
Yeah, do a Pathfinder 2e.
Yeah.
Just, like, do a little adventure of Leshy adventures in a aristocratic tea party. That actually might be something to do. I didn't think about that until I just talked about it. I'm like, oh, it's downloaded for free. We can just do it. It'd be neat. Maybe. We'll see. But, honestly, it's just... Paizo talks with people. Paizo tries to do stuff that's nice. I mean, like, they're just...
They do product vomit, but they do enough unique and interesting stuff.
Yeah.
That is actually, like, kind of worth it.
They're like...
And also, the product vomit's not disgustingly expensive.
They, like, vary their product vomit, too. Like, it's like, oh, here's a map set, and here's a tile set.
Here's a map set, here's tiles, here's some minis.
Yeah, here's some...
Here's the really cool Cobalt statue that I still want.
Here's a book that's a small book that's about this certain, like, nation. Here's something that's about, like, this thing. Here's an adventure path. Here's a big book that we get out once every, you know, like, a couple times a year. You know, things like that. They have here's, like, just an adventure. You know, so we'll have an adventure and the adventure path, and it's just like, yes, it's product vomit, but it's just a variety. It's not the same things, which is good. So yeah, Free RPG Day. Look forward to that. And if you want to do a Fistful of Flowers, or the other one, Skitter Warp, which is the crew of the Nukkachin Savage are the only ones close enough to stop an army of demons besieging the capital city. This mission is a personal one. So 5th level adventure that Starfinder one seems like it could probably be interesting, but I don't know enough about Starfinder to know if it's silly or just interesting.
Unrelated to this that I've just noticed, Pathfinder First Edition, 50% off.
Ooh, nice.
First feed modules, 50% off.
Certainly.
Still play First Edition, which a lot of people do.
First Edition is still really good. Yeah, I will. First Edition has its jank. Well, I'll never argue against that.
It's jank and it's bloat, but at its core, I think it's still one of the better systems.
It's still solid. They took lessons from technically 2 different editions and made something that has minimum issues, but is still, but it's a more complex system.
Yep.
You know, it's the difference between complexity and simplicity. You know, that's 5th edition Pathfinder, but
yeah, I
always suggest it. But yeah, so if that's something that people are interested, I definitely suggest checking it out. Next up, I wanted to briefly talk about Tyrant's Quest, a new RPG. Really because it's taking something we talked about the other week and taking in a very different system. It's meant to be a mix and match class system.
Oh.
It has 81 classes, and it's a D100 system.
D100 systems are just a little weird.
They
but
are.
I kind of like them, because they're very different.
Mm-hmm. See, it's this might be too much, but it might not be, depending on how well it's built. But it's interesting to see it.
81 is a lot, but
is.
It could be built in such a way that it's very easy to understand.
Mm-hmm. It also could be, because this is something that I know from certain systems, is that, like, each class has a set number of levels. So, like, maybe you can get up to, like, level 20, but there could be classes that are, like, 10 levels and some that are, like, 5 levels. So you're made to take multiple classes in the first place, you know. And, like, it could be that, like, it's sort of like, you know, you build on top of your build, and you can have variety that way. I'm not sure if that's direction they necessarily took, but...
I always like this idea of the mix and match class stuff, because it characters grow a little more interesting in that way, rather than having a static class you stick to.
Yeah. It's interesting RPG systems that I've like... The thing is, like, I will say it, there have certainly been some RPG systems that I've seen versions of in more... I wouldn't call it maybe in media. I was going to say popular media, but they're popular in certain circles. But I've seen them in media, and I'm like, why hasn't anybody done stuff like this? You know? And, of course, you know, this is closer to some of those things that, like, we just... don't have a lot of the standards.
$35 PDF. Pretty good.
$35's not bad for supporting it, and all the stretch goals. $50 for a physical copy.
Yeah, for a hardcover and a PDF, that's not bad. $150, you get a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah. So certainly, they got a lot of stuff. They got some add-ons like their own special colored dice, 3D 10 that are percentile versions. So, you know. It's funded. 25 days to go. Not by a huge amount, so they haven't had any stretch goals yet. But still, it is funded. So, I mean, you know. That's just the basics for now. Yeah. It looked interesting, and we did talk about multi-classing, so it drew my vision. So the next part is what I wanted to call the 5e product roundup, Kickstarter product roundup, which is I ran into a bunch of Kickstarter-related things that I thought I at least want to mention, because they all seemed interesting, but maybe not like talk for a long period of time. First off is there is a funded thing for libations. It's a book of 1,000 drinks that you can have. And I gotta say, the reason I wanted to talk about it is not because I'm a big fan of drinks, but the amount of times PCs end up in a bar in D&D or another role-playing game. Bar adventures happen so much.
The classic start as well.
It is the classic start. So having some variety and like some interesting like drinks and stuff like that, like have design, it's like one of those things of like it's a detail, and details can add to the world. So it's like, you know, I like charts where you can like roll those random things for taverns and stuff, because, you know, Paizo has a few of those in Pathfinder and they're fun. But these like show pictures of a lot of them. They look really interesting. It's, again, this was like, it was just interesting. Similarly, I have art-inspired magic items for 5th edition.
Ooh.
So very artistically inspired things. You know, they make sure to have like pictures of like all these things, so like you can certainly feel like the pictures match the magic items. And honestly, it's again another thing that 5e could really use: creatures, items. Yeah. Wow.
Nope. You get all the items in DMG, and then maybe like 10 in a different book. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
DMG's perfect. Has no flaws.
I'm just gonna go like this for a while, and maybe
DMG's perfect. I don't personally have never said anything against it on this show specifically. No, I've never done that.
No. So again, it's another one that's funded. 11 days to go. So just was interesting. And just the last thing in this little roundup is this one is not a Kickstarter anymore. It was a Kickstarter. It has a actual release now. Sky Raiders of Abrix. It's a 5e world. It's sky fantasy.
Nice.
So, you know, Again, it's more just that it was successful on Kickstarter. I don't know if we talked about it here on the show. Who knows? I can never remember.
I think it was one of the ones we may have missed.
We missed plenty. There's always a lot of stuff.
Kickstarter is massive. The RPG sector for Kickstarter is giant.
I try to find, and sometimes it's sort of like it catches my eye now, but when I'm like looking through a bunch of stuff, sometimes they can't even catch my eye, and that's the problem.
Yeah, like unless it's something from like Ghostfire Games that they're doing a Kickstarter for, I usually will miss it because it's just too much.
I try my best to like just at least eye through a bunch of stuff and find some interesting things, but sometimes you just can't find them. So
yeah, it's too much.
And honestly, I do like sky-based games.
Yeah, they're fun.
I always talked about, I did a Pathfinder Gestalt game. No, it might actually be in 3.5 Gestalt. I don't know if it's Pathfinder or 3.5, because I don't remember how old it was. But it was a Gestalt game, which, if you don't know Gestalt, it's you take two classes, you sandwich them together, so it's the ultimate multi-class. Because you're technically the best of two classes at once. Which they had rules for in 3.5, which is just increase the CR by 2. Because you're just going to be elite and have a lot of abilities. So it's an interesting concept. I tried it out, and I made a world that was originally inspired when I played through Skies of Arcadia, but I wrote a bunch of lore and made it on my own kind of interesting thing. I made up a whole bunch of nations and like interesting lore and stuff like that, and I combined it with a little bit of like a Spelljammer planet to make it actually feel D&D, because they had rules for basically being in a gas giant. That's what it would have been. Cool. In floating islands in one of the layers of the gas giant. So if like you went down lower levels, of course it's like inhospitable, and also it's difficult to like leave the planet because you have to go upper layers. It's like these islands are just stuck in these like couple of layers that have some like maybe tunnels between them that are a little more difficult to travel through, and I thought it was an interesting idea.
Cool idea, yeah.
Yeah. And I could kind of combine that with the Skies of Arcadia's piratey feel. That's what I wanted, the piratey feel of Skies of Arcadia, combined with when I read about that, that type of planet in Spelljammer. I'm like, ooh, air worlds, sky pirates. Those are my connections. So
nice.
I will look at the back order there. So let's talk a bunch about Modiphius, because they have a bunch of things.
Another good company.
Yeah. The first thing is, the only non-RPG thing I want to talk about is their Specter board game is up for pre-release, which is it's James Bond. You're competing to become the number one, and the thing is, it's James Bond, but you're trying to be the number one agent of Spectre. You're being villains. I think we might have talked about it before a little bit. When they initially announced it, but it's up for pre-release now, and I like the idea of it, that you're like taking on James Bond villains and trying to like defeat him and build an evil global taking over organization.
Nice.
Because I mean, like, honestly, you could play the G.I. Joe RPG and then you're Cobra, and then if you play Cobra, and it's just Cobra's silly. And I'm not gonna argue that Spectre is a little bit silly. But Spectre,
like, less silly.
Yeah, because James Bond at least takes their villains with half seriousness, even if they're a little out there. Yeah, you have Jaws who had metal teeth and bites through stuff, or Oddjob who threw a hat.
He does have a razor hat.
He does have a razor hat, which are definitely a little kind of silly, but they're actually killing people.
I think it's more campy than silly.
Yeah, that's what it is. Campy. And campy's okay. They usually do a good job of not stepping over that really silly line.
Yeah.
So it is available for pre-order now. It's going to go out in August. But speaking of that, this is not the correct link, but maybe I can find it here. That's the correct link. No?
Links are hard.
I'll just do the click here for more information. It doesn't. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm sorry. You have to check the main site to get the information on how it is. So, here it is.
There you go.
You get 3 collector's editions of the Dune books if you spend
Yeah,
45, whatever their
I think that's
pounds.
The Great British Pound.
Yeah, so £45 on Dune products between technically a couple days ago and June 30th, and you could win 3 collector's editions.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah. Honestly, that's it's an interesting little giveaway. It's like,
Collector's edition is very expensive compared to the core rulebook.
yes, I think it's I think you get at least the 3 main books it was supposed to be or something. You might get, honestly, all 4 collector's editions, which is like $400 worth of stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
Or slightly less in pounds. It's still close to $400 and stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot the pound is not a huge difference between the dollar now. It's a little less of them needed still, but it used to be a lot more different. Cough, cough. Yeah. Sorry, Britain. Cough, cough.
Oof.
Not our fault this time.
Yeah, we didn't do anything this time. It's your fault. Yeah, it's always cool to have this kind of stuff because you're buying rulebooks you want, essentially. Mm-hmm. You might get some cool stuff by winning.
It's the same reason that I have the collector's edition of the Monster Manual for Pathfinder second edition, the Bestiary, because I was going to go buy the best. Well, actually, no, I was buying the core rulebook of 2nd edition, and I was at a convention, and they're like, we're having a sale. This was on the last day. This for cheaper than the normal Bestiary. Because they brought an extra box of them.
Nice. And
most places try to liquidate most of their things they're bringing to a convention.
Yeah, because it's overstocked a lot of the time.
And it's difficult to bring it back.
Yep.
So they were like... Granted, it was still like, it was like instead of like... I think, $10 cheaper than the normal Bestiary.
That's still like pretty good.
But it's the collector's edition.
It's a cool looking book.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm really happy that I got that, and it was just luck thing. But it's the same kind of thing. The collector's editions are cool. If you really have the money to spend on them, great. Or if you have an opportunity like this, maybe it'd be kind of cool. Yeah. And honestly, if you're a fan of Dune, I'm pretty sure just buying the core rulebook is enough. It is $45.
Yeah, the core rulebook is $45
pounds. So you could just buy the core rulebook and be entered.
Yep.
So, just want to shout that out. I want to talk about now Stargate, because guess what I missed existing in Modiphius? Because it was released sometime recently, and I somehow missed this completely. I don't think we've talked about it. An Stargate SG-1 role-playing game core rulebook. Have we talked about that?
No, I don't even see it on their website. Like in the little
the
menu.
Pre-order started, and so now it's going to be actually shipping in July. If you go to their main website, and where I found it, it was under their new releases section. If you scroll down from the main website, it's right there for me, next to the Fallout stuff.
I don't see that, because I'm also dumb. I don't see that on their, but I might just be stupid.
It's fine. I linked the thing to the book, at least. I was like...
That's a weird one.
It's a weird one. I gotta be honest. I liked Stargate SG-1 for the most part.
Yeah.
They had MacGyver for a long time, and Richard Dean Anderson does a good job. I don't know if he does anything else other than MacGyver and play... God, I can't remember the names except for for Teok, because he's got the funny name.
I don't remember anything from SG-1, I'll be honest.
I remember a lot of I can remember the episodes probably. It's a pretty decent sci-fi series. It was okay. It transitioned to a mainstream channel when it went to sci-fi really well. The later seasons are a thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of seasons are pretty decent. And, yeah, they're basing it on 5e rules.
Oh.
Which is interesting. Because we're Vern Gaming, so what I'm guessing is the reason why we didn't notice it is it's what Modiphius does is sometimes they publish stuff.
Right, because it's not one of okay, yeah, no, that's why I didn't see it.
Yeah, because it's not an actual product they have; it's an actual product they're
yeah,
publishing.
It's under the other tab where they have all their published stuff.
Yeah. Just their role-playing stuff, a lot of. It's based on all of the Stargate series. They choose 5 races, 6 classes, a bunch of origins. Honestly, like, the concept behind this, like, sci-fi show doesn't make a bad role-playing show. Like,
no, it doesn't.
Go explore a random planet, have adventures. Yeah. You know? Maybe meet something a little, like, sci-fi-y, maybe something a little, like, monster-y. There's a lot of weird directions it can take. There's, like, weird psychic abilities that exist because of, like, things, like, you know, so you can definitely get, like, something like that. Certainly.
Like the weird worm things.
Yeah. Or, like, beings that have ascended to higher planes that have psychic powers, or other people that just have it because they're on their way to becoming higher beings or some shit like that. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you could do that makes it, like... it's sci-fi at its heart, but you can do a little bit of that sci-fantasy in there, too. You know?
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I think that's the big thing about it, is, like, more than... I did like the series overall, with some complaints about, you know, some of their side series and stuff like that. I think the big thing is that, like, I think it would be a really fun RPG game to play.
Could be, yeah.
I think that with the right kind of adventuring, you know, if you want an adventure game, it works very well. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go just traditionally fantasy, because it's hard to get a non-traditionally fantasy adventure type game. It's easy to do that in fantasy. Like D&D, go check out a dungeon or a cave or like a mountain or something, and it's going to be filled with fantastical creatures and stuff like that. Yeah. In like more modern or sci-fi things, it's sort of like doesn't really work as well.
No, it's hard to do dungeons like at random in a modern day sci-fi, because like it's mostly just people.
Yeah. In this, you could be like, there's weird ancient ruins on this alien planet. Let's see if there's anything interesting in there.
Yeah.
You can do that, you know?
It's easy enough.
Yeah. It's like, there might be some archaeological significance, or maybe like they secretly had super technology that'd be interesting to find, you know? Either or works. You're explorers. And Star Trek does explore well, but a Star Trek adventure game is honestly probably going to focus a lot more on the characters and the, you know...
Yeah, and I mean, Star Trek adventuring is you're just looking at Southern California.
It is. Look, we didn't have the budget to go any farther. Damn it. It's all Southern California.
Every planet is just somewhere in Southern California.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing I just have to say about Star Trek is, like, it's the unfortunate thing that,
budgets exist.
Budgets exist, and, honestly, like, if you look at the way about it is, it's certainly, like, it's a lot cleaner of a show, I would say.
There's no grit.
Yeah, there's no grit. This is, like, your, maybe, like, a couple of military officers and some, like, civilian consultants that are experts in something, like science or something, you know, going on some adventures around space, and, you know, it's down and dirty, you know, and you're not dealing with a lot of, like, you know, the higher-than-thou shit that's in Star Trek, which is fun to roleplay. I'm not gonna lie about it, but it's a very different experience.
Yeah, like, I watched some Next Generation again recently, because it was Captain Picard Day. Which is a thing. And honestly, while I like Next Generation, I got a little bored because not a lot of exciting things happen in Star Trek. It's a lot of talking, especially the earlier stuff.
The earlier stuff, it's still...
There's some exciting stuff, but it's a lot of talking.
The earlier stuff...
there's no grit.
wasn't great. You know, that's the thing. So, it's sort of like, at most, you can call a lot of the early next-gen okay. And it starts to go a little that way towards the later next-gen. It's those core middle seasons that are pretty good.
Yeah, the middle is, like, really good.
But then it also varies by the episode.
Yes, it's very episode of the week.
Some episodes are better than others.
Oh, absolutely. There's some really bad episodes of Next Generation. Anything with Wesley Crusher, I hate it. Because I fucking hate that character.
Well,
but it's like, I want, especially nowadays, because I've watched Star Trek for so long, I want gritty sci-fi.
I can see that. And, like, that's the thing, is that I could do a gritty sci-fi adventure that would be, you know, still modern day and very easy. Because, again, like, you can make characters that are just, they could be just from Earth. So it's very easy to make a character because we know our modern world. Make a character that would be from here. Make it a little bit more interesting, you know, you're, like, had some crazy, you know, like... adventures in, like, because again, like, you could be military, or like you could be like, I'm an archaeologist, you know, maybe you did some, like, you discovered some interesting dig or something, you know, and now you're being, like, employed by the US government to go explore space, you know.
Yeah, you are employed because you're the most average man in existence.
That's my character on
You're the most average human being to ever live. All middle sliders.
But I'm also a really good cop. I love it that, like, sometimes I go, like, cop mode and everybody else just goes quiet sometimes.
Oh,
I'm just like... But
damn, the one person who takes this job seriously.
But also, like, we're not cops, but aren't we kind of...
You're kind of FBI.
Mm-hmm. Look, I got a great investigation skill. I'm going to use it.
Me too. Thank God someone does. I told people it was an investigation game, and some characters don't have that skill.
You're not normal cops, but that's okay. You have
magic cops.
You have magic powers that make you
You're
totally...
magic cops, and one's a snake. One's a big snake woman.
Mm-hmm.
The other's an 80-year-old man.
He is very old. And, so yeah. Honestly, yeah. This game, I'm like, I think I could have interesting adventures with it, or
it could
like
be really fun.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, I don't remember a lot from Stargate. I remember the movie decently enough.
Like, honestly, there's a lot of seasons and a lot of crazy shit happens, but you can just...
For me, I can just read some background information and just get into it.
Just, like, there's a lot of seasons that you can just be, like, during that time period, honestly, you know?
It's like when I'm inevitably invited for a Star Trek game on that one day a year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember that much about Star Trek, but I know, like, the basics.
Yeah.
So I can make a character in that world.
Yeah, you guys would be just like SG-7 or something. You know, you're the 7th team. You're not as important.
We're not the main characters.
Yeah, you go see them doing something awesome, you know, and then, you know,
we'll all die eventually, probably horrifically.
Yeah, Atlantis was fine. Its ending sucked. The third one was terrible, but they have information on it. So it's like 3 movies and 17 seasons of TV. I think the movies are the TV movies, which they... Maybe?
Well, there's the one movie that's the theatrical movie.
Yeah, which is technically canon, but also sort of not. You know, it's weird.
Yeah, it's also, like, really good.
It is very good. I would recommend the original Stargate movie.
But it's not technically, I think the show's made some of it not canon, which is weird.
It made it, like, mostly canon. It was one of those weird things, is they kind of half-referenced it.
Some retconning happened, I think.
Yeah, but a lot of the retconning could, like, you know, if you, like, think about it, like, none of it really hurt the entire thing. They just... little bits here and there. Anyway, you know. Last thing I wanted to talk about is that we had some releases for Fallout.
Nice.
The quick start guide, and this is the game starter set. So if you want to do the quick start guide for the Fallout RPG, it's available for free. If you want to check out the starter set, it's available for... I have to choose this in English, because in US dollars, because that's what I know.
$27.
$27. Yeah, and that's the... it's got the core rules, perks, equipment you need, a 60-page kind of quest book, 6 pre-generated characters, 2 20-sided die, a 20-sided hit location die, 4 6-sided Fallout die, and a bunch of Nuka-Cola cap tokens for action points or currency.
I still really want to run a Fallout game, but I have to read the massive rulebook again. Because that book is like 300 pages.
I'd be interested, definitely. It's...
It'd be like I'd probably do like a one-shot or like a 3 adventure kind of thing.
Yeah. It's something that's got a very interesting world, but it's got a very detailed world, so it's diving into it's a little hard. Like, for me, I can do Star Trek pretty well because I've watched all of Star Trek. So, like, I can do that. And I've watched a lot of Star Wars, so, like, core Star Wars stuff is easy.
Yeah.
A lot of the extended stuff is like, I don't know about that.
A lot of the extended stuff doesn't matter.
That's true.
It's bad.
Even some of the stuff that technically is canon is just, I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
I know a lot about Fallout, probably more than someone should, honestly. Because I'm just a huge fan of the series for the most, except for like maybe 2 games.
I played 2 games exactly.
I'm gonna guess you probably played Fallout 4 and maybe
Nope.
New Vegas. You haven't played Fallout 4?
Nope. I own Fallout 4 because I got it on a really good sale with all its DLCs.
It's mostly fine if you ignore the story.
I still kind of want to play through it now that I have it. It's been on. It's kind of like on my list of eventually getting to. Probably
It's like mostly fine.
Yeah.
But like I just love the world of Fallout because it's just fucking weird.
Also,
weird.
Also, incorrect lightning. I've played 3 in New Vegas because those were the ones out on PlayStation 3 where I originally owned them.
That's fair. I figured one of them was going to be New Vegas. That's the one a lot more people.
I did replay it on a harder difficulty and hardcore mode on stream then too, which was fun. But like
I've played every Fallout game except the little beta build of what was originally going to be Fallout 3 because I can't find it. Apparently it's terrible, so I don't need to play it anymore.
If I could figure out a way to take my PlayStation 3 save that I have, that I'd copied actually, and I actually have physically on my computer, because originally, like when I was doing some shuffling around to try to save stuff, when my PlayStation 3 kept kind of breaking, I did manage to get a lot of my saves. If I could figure out how to use that with like one day with a PlayStation 3 emulator, I would totally. Or to like convert it to computer for like because I own like New Vegas or Fallout 3 now. I did rebuy them when they were like $5.
Fallout 3 actually runs on PC now, because Microsoft is an update.
Converting your save from one to the other,
that's a bit of a weird one.
I don't know, like that would be awesome because I would love to check that out again because I just remember in Fallout 3 I stole everything in existence, and that included all the things where you had to like get like a set of power armor, reverse pickpocket onto someone so you could steal their clothes then. Yeah. I had like all the kids' clothes too because they were all then power armor kids, and I'm like, haha! Now you're in armor. I get your pants.
I have
because this is weird.
Everything in Fallout New Vegas except the Legion ending because I hate Rome LARPers, and also the Legion sucks.
It's like I always thought about doing multiple endings, but
so because New Vegas is old. It's like 10 years old. This fucking play.
I think that's actually
I've played it multiple times every couple of years.
That's the only thing about Fallout 3. I've never hit any of the actual endings.
I finished Fallout 3 one time, and that was
not Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas. Because I got to that point both times where I had to choose between the different endings, and I couldn't choose.
Oh, you had choice paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
I am big proponent of the NCR, gestures to NCR flag on my wall, because they're just cool, and they have a bear on their flag, and also they're from Fallout 2, which is my favorite video game.
That's like the one I was going to do first, but it was the thing of like, I kind of wanted to also have all of them, but then it's like a lot of work to do all of them, and you're replaying stuff, and I was like,
yeah, that's fair. I mean, Mr. House sucks. He's just a billionaire. I don't like independent Vegas for multiple reasons, but I won't get into that because it'll be a long rant if I do. I have opinions on New Vegas and the various factions.
What about Overlord, where you just take over everything and go mwah ha 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 ha?
That one is like fine, but it leaves the wasteland in like the worst state imaginable because you just die and then everything goes to shit.
Yeah. It really, I really do agree. Like the NCR, like as soon as you like hear about them, they're like they're actually trying to build a nation, like a real nation.
The only stable one.
Yeah.
And that's partially because they had a year to make the game, and they didn't flesh out many of the other endings because they couldn't.
Ah!
Bethesda gave them 1 year.
They did so well for a year.
They did so well for 1 year, but there's a lot of cut content.
I can see that, man.
And then they made Outer Worlds, which was this disappointment.
I've not played, I have not experienced to know what...
It's, like, fine, but it's the one joke of space capitalism bad for, like, 30 hours.
Yeah, I think it's, like, the Fallout world is interesting to a good degree, but I feel like sometimes they get, like, weird lore ship their own asses.
Yeah, it depends, because I mostly ignore... when I run a game, I'll mostly Bethesda lore, because I don't like it that much.
Yeah.
Because I would mostly just run in, like, either California, or the Mojave, or, like, the Pacific Northwest, somewhere around there. Because that's, in my opinion, where Fallout is at its best, is on the West Coast. Because it has the most stuff.
I'm sure. I'm like, there'd be probably more interesting areas to play, but, like, I feel like maybe that's something that can be fleshed out by, let's say, a role-playing game, where, like, some of these other areas in the world that, like...
Yeah, you could make books for these things. Will they? Maybe.
What sort of, like... That's the one good thing I feel like that's happened because Shadowrun has 1 billion editions. They have a lot of books on, like, different areas of the world.
Because there's, like... If you actually do a deep dive into Fallout lore, there is so much mentioned for various places of the U.S., but Bethesda has made a lot of it not canon because they're picking through it to see what they want to use. So this information exists, but it's not currently in canon. So you could use all this information to run a game basically anywhere in the U.S.
Okay.
And you could also use the fantastic Hearts of Iron 4 mod, World War Blues, where a mod team has basically made up a bunch of shit that fits very well into Fallout lore.
Yeah, because like you were talking about how they got areas of like up towards Canada and Mexico.
Yeah, they've got like
stuff.
all the way up into Canada and then all the way down to like Venezuela.
So that's like a large swath of area, and like the thing is like it was a nuclear war that created like you know yes, the U.S. and like China were devastated, probably the worst. But the world has felt the effects of it. You know?
Basically, like, in Fallout lore, within, like, 2 hours, all civilization just ceased to exist. Everywhere. Because it devolved into a massive war between not only the U.S. and China. The EU sort of started squabbling and destroying itself. The Soviet Union still existed and did something, but I don't really remember.
That seems pleasant. And then probably a lot of the other, like, smaller countries that were,
The nukes in Fallout are also smaller yields. There are a lot more of them.
Yeah. So definitely, and other countries that could have gotten them by then could have just started unleashing theirs. There's an excuse.
And there's definitely, like, areas that haven't been nuked as much. Like, Montana in the center of the U.S. is mostly still green and fine. In places like that. Because, like, the mostly not populated places are probably stuff like
honestly, yeah, you could be like that's the thing is you could play a game that you like start in Montana and you like maybe you're a group of like people from like a small settlement that's been here since the fall of the U.S. that's managed to like maintain this little like thing away from anywhere. You're nowhere near a nuclear bomb. You really haven't had to deal with a lot of shit.
There are like rules for that in the book. There's rules for like you could be just a vault that opens up.
Yeah.
And you could all be vault dwellers. You could all be ghouls surviving in irradiated ruins. You could all be Brotherhood of Steel. There are rules for all of these things. You could all be robots that have gained sentience. There's rules for it.
Well, like, I like the idea of maybe like that, like, hey, we got to journey somewhere. Like, something breaks down, it's been like a couple hundred years, and we got to journey somewhere that might be irradiated or dangerous, we got to go to the big city, which people haven't journeyed into, like, for 100 years from our settlement,
Yeah,
no one knows
your water chip broke, so you have to go out in the wasteland and fight super mutants.
I mean, I don't know if there's a wasteland in Montana, but like, maybe the city.
I don't think there's super mutants in Montana.
Maybe the big city. We don't. There are big cities in Montana.
There's
just
probably
like
ghouls, like ferals and shit, and raiders and stuff, robots.
I'm sure whatever the I can't remember the capital city of Montana.
I don't know the capital city of Montana.
But that would probably have gotten hit by a nuke, honestly.
Probably like one of them.
Yeah. So, honestly, like each state.
There's a lot you can do in Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to just do like the video game settings. You could set it anywhere. You could do like one not in America. If you really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to make a lot of stuff up because all the lore does exist for North America.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was saying. Like, I was comparing the lore a little bit to like Shadowrun. They've built a lot of that global lore. Like, most of the world, I could probably have enough lore to set a game in Shadowrun anywhere.
Yeah,
honestly, because there's been enough of it put out there, and it's all very different and very interesting. Like, there's this huge history of all this shit that's happened all over the world, and it's all really interesting. I could do something for it. And that's why I would love to see more of that for Fallout RPG. I'm hoping it's successful. I hope we see more.
I think it's been pretty successful.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get some setting books and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like a pre-written adventure would be really good as well.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. I would love to see definitely more. Hoping for the best that they do some of that at some point. We don't really have a lightning, so we don't do more locking. What else can we do for a deeper discussion topic?
I don't have access to the list, so.
I know. I should probably like share this.
You should probably like put it in a Google Doc.
I should probably put the bottom part of the actual list that I've had, but I'm not going to remember to edit it. It's the problem.
That's fair.
Because I make a lot of notes on here. Like, I put all the links on this document I have before I upload them. So I'm a little behind, but I'm actually not too far behind on uploads. I mean, maybe like 8, which isn't bad. But I haven't uploaded in YouTube in like a month, so I got to go back.
That's fair.
It's just it's that thing of like the habit of sitting down and doing it.
Yeah, it takes effort, and you don't always have the energy.
I haven't had a lot of energy in a lot of months. I've been feeling better, like, a little bit now. It turns out something that is cathartic to me, even though it can be frustrating, is Siege. I played a bunch with Lee last night. That felt really good.
I saw you play that. It popped up on my screen when I was playing D&D.
Yeah. It's sort of like, I understand the frustrations of it, and it gets people pissed off, but I like playing with people in it, There's something about that.
Hey, if you enjoy the game, more power to you. Yeah. I can't anymore.
I understand
I cannot do competitive anymore. I get too angry.
I can understand that is the thing. It's just sort of like I lost all the people I could play.
That's fair. Yeah, we all kind of got mad at the game.
Let's see here.
I do sometimes miss those nights of me and Umber just progressively getting angrier and angrier as time goes on.
That's why you need to get 5 of us, and then it's like a lot better. Like I still like the hit system is still terrible. I have to say,
no, I don't think they're
wasn't going to be improved.
I don't think they can fix that. I think that's just an engine problem.
I'm also sure, like, there's just like a weird lag problem because there's like a lot of times where I'm like, I'm fairly certain more bullets hit that person than it looked like, but maybe they were just somehow miraculously dodging all around them perfectly.
Yeah, true.
Let's see here. Here's some good ones. Unexpected power gaming characters, concepts of builds, when they work and when they fail. Maybe talking a little bit more about maps, probably in depth about maps a little bit more. Too many or too few players. Too much plot in game. That's an interesting topic.
Too much plot can be a fun one.
Let's talk about too much plot. How much is too much plot?
All right. Here's the point, in my opinion. Too much plot is a thing when it's the only thing that your players can deal with. And it's just shoved like right down the throat.
We'll wait to do maps for you to be around, Lightning. We'll be like you. If you we'll ask for you to be around one of these weeks.
Yeah. One day you will join us for the deeper discussion.
Yeah.
We need you so we can rip on warlocks.
Yeah, it's definitely a big one. Yeah, the thing is, like, I think the point where I always talk about, and it's one of the games that I was in, where we hit the point of time where it really was, in a way, too much plot, was the game ended up fine and fun in the end. And all the too much plot technically intersected all together. But, like, there was a period of the game where like, me and 2 other players sat down after the game, because we were all leaving because we were at a friend's house. It's an in-person game. We're all chatting as we're walking to our cars. We had like 20 plot hooks.
Oh, geez.
And all of them were important to the plot in some way.
I have like 3.
Like, now, granted, some of them were kind of like these side tangents which eventually would come back into the plot, but they all mattered at that point in time for building what was going on. There was this thing we could do, this thing that we could do, this thing that we could do, this thing that we could do, It's like sort of like the big main plot points were still there, We could list them off like, oh, there's an army of werewolves somewhere that probably should be dealt with. There's the horrible puppet master that created them. Something going on with this other cult. This ring is missing. These evil witches are chasing us down because when we first left, we attacked one of them. It was like hag pirates. And we killed one of them that was like the easy one. So the other 2 are tracing us down, shit like that, And we listed off all these things and we're like, what the fuck do? We just choose one? That's too much.
I mean, there's the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
With Lightning's Edwin game we were all in, where we forced the plot to exist because we didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
We were just like, there's too many choices and none of them have a story. So a plot was born, I guess.
I mean, that certainly is a thing that can happen.
It's just because I think, like, for me, I like having some form of a baseline plot to keep me going. I like having a little bit of an overarching story.
Yeah.
I know for Star Wars, I give you guys a lot of places you can go.
Yeah.
Some of it's plot relevant. Some of it doesn't really do anything. Honestly, I was kind of expecting you guys to go to the big forest planet in the middle of the galaxy. It's not really centrally related to the plot, but it's like kind of tangentially. That you'll get things from there.
Yeah.
Is the thing. I won't give you nothing. You'll get stuff. I have stuff there you'll get. But you don't need to go there, is the thing.
That's the thing, is I feel like a bunch of these things that we keep adding in are they're little side
quests. They're little side quests. You don't technically need to really do any of them, but they will help you because they will get you items. Like the staff, you didn't have to do the staff. It just got you an item. Yeah, it got you a cool item.
Yeah. I think it's like side quests can become too much plot.
Yeah.
But even if you remove the side quests, you can be like, it's sort of like throwing multiple main plots at someone at the same time could be too much, or like one main plot that has like 5 or 6 branches that are important.
Oh god.
Choose a branch to pursue. What?
Like, when I did the concept for my Star Wars game in my head, and in my document of chaos notes, I was always going to present 3 options. Bounty hunting / mercenary, which immediately, because I presented that with the Hutt, no one wanted to do that. So I was like, okay, that's fair. Hutts are shit heads. They're assholes. That's not the kind of game you guys want. I presented the option of working with the rebels and dealing with the Empire, or pursuing this Force user. You were doing both for a little bit, but it seems now you focused on the Force user. So I'm now building that one up instead of the Empire one. I'll use the Empire plot for something else later.
Mm-hmm.
I always present 3 plot options that maybe sometimes they will tie into each other, maybe they won't. For Star Wars, they wouldn't have. They would have been very different stories. But for, like, the Dragon Kitsune game I ran, you had 3 plot options. They all tied in together at the end. For Cyberpunk, I just have 1 plot I'm doing, because it's a short game.
Yeah. I feel like I can say for something like Buccaneers, that's easy. Buccaneers is working off a pre-made adventure. At most, I might add a few extra side quests and side things in, you know. That's the thing. Or, like, embellish some of the stuff. Plot's already existing. Plot is pretty good in that one, I have to say, you know.
It's a pretty enjoyable story so far.
Yeah. Children of Wrath is one of those weird ones where I started out half with a plot and kind of some ideas in mind. And it has evolved in my mind what's going on with that plot more as we've played. But also, there's been unexpected tangents so many times.
All its side quests is the D&D game.
And I'm not even, like, presenting half the side quest
options.
options.
They're just going places.
They're like, we're gonna side quest over there. And I'm like,
we're gonna go over here.
It's a lot less now.
We'll do something that's really bad.
It is a lot less now. Now I'm like, yeah, all these things are connected nowadays. Here's a bunch of side quests.
It's all focused now.
I've had to force that.
Yeah. Which is fair, because they weren't doing anything.
We're like hitting nearly the 2-year mark, and I'm like, I was reflecting upon that, and I'm like, I am in the back end of the adventure, but it's been taking like 2 years to get done.
Like, I'm from an outside observer. Obviously, someone in the game. They haven't done anything to warrant being this high a level.
No.
But they are. And that's fine. They're just bumbling around like idiots.
Well, it's sort of like you originally want to try to give them some levels early on, and even then early on they really hadn't done anything, but like you don't want too many sessions to go by, and then sort of like, honestly, nearly like 100 episodes in, I kept like occasionally giving them levels. Nowadays it's sort of like, I'll give you a level when you're done this large arc of being
this
places.
Shit.
Yeah,
you can get a level.
Something will have been done there. It won't be much. Like I think I leveled you in between Shiv and Urborg because I'm like, hey, you finished your adventures in Shiv. Something sort of happened.
We did stuff in Shiv. I did stuff in Shiv mostly.
It wasn't really enough for a level, but there was stuff done to make it kind of count.
Yeah, we did things. We talked to dragons and shit. And then
Story EXP awards. There you go.
Goblin Mom.
Goblin Mom. Father things. Better character and brother. No, that's this adventure now.
Yeah, no. Can we get rid of Kazran and have him? Should I drown Kazran in a swamp? Just have his brother around?
Just filling Lee in on what happened a little bit. That was the thing. Trying to be nice about it too, and filling Lee in.
Like, I want Slarblot back. I want him. Can we have him as the goblin instead?
I can try, but I don't think it'll work.
Just have him replace Kazarin slowly.
Just have him show up a couple more times and be
Yeah,
like,
just have him keep turning up.
the better goblin. I mean, I could, honestly. There is this entire thing with like a reborn elder dragon that might be showing up to talk about a certain other reborn elder dragon.
I'm not helping with that. I've already decided Kazarin did it. He can explain it.
Which I accidentally did worse than or better than I thought.
Like, I'm a victim of his hubris.
Mm-hmm.
He can deal with it.
Look, I honestly forgot that guy was the wife of the one that they resurrected.
It's hilarious, and I hope Kazarin enjoys the conversation, because I'm not talking.
Oh, it'll be great. I know when I'm doing it, but it's probably going to be after they do the thing and they liberate the tower and stuff. Which,
yeah, we got to do things with the tower, and people are going to make more questionable decisions.
I just keep telling them I'm not going to have you fight things. I don't want to figure it out at this point in time.
We're level 13. You don't want to. You don't want to.
Weird fucking abilities.
I mean, I'm the most normal character mechanically.
And even
I don't know what the hell Kazarin does mechanically.
Even then, I just don't want to deal with it at this point in time.
It's too much to prep a level 13 combat.
Oh god.
Have it be fun.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. Like, at least
it's like, God.
I have experience with high-level Pathfinder play up to 15th level as a DM, and I have experience up to high-level play as a player up to 20. Yeah. So at least I have a place to, like, try to adapt battles that way. But for 5th edition, no?
God. For 5th edition, my highest level was, like, besides Cole, but Cole's not a real D&D character, he's a mouthpiece.
He's Batman.
Like level 12 in an actual campaign where we were doing all of the pillars of D&D rather than just like a couple of them. Yeah, I think Wrath has been too many side quests.
Yeah, so see, that's
enough plot.
I think that's like side quests are a thing that maybe like maybe that's actually a topic I can add in here. Side quests.
Side quests are hard.
Just as a topic, just call it side quests to talk about it.
But another game I was in recently where I played my Blade Singer Wizard, which you've heard me complain about before.
Mm-hmm.
There came a point where we had more or less kind of open freedom, and then abruptly that was taken away, and we were kind of railroaded along in a plot. That was all we were allowed to interact with was the plot. And I feel like that's the worst way to do plot.
Yeah, plot is a hard thing when we talk about it. Like a plot of your game, it's storytelling. It's always going to be storytelling, and like I got to be honest, I'm not the best at. If I want to sit down and write an actual story, that's difficult. But the nature of a D&D plot means that you can build it while interacting with your players. That's a good thing, because you can use your players to help you build plot. You're not building it alone. But you still have to have kind of that outline. You know, you have to at least have an idea of where everything goes. Like, I have to tell you, Children of Wrath, I have an outline of what I want to do. Like, major plot beats, this, and this, and that's it. You know, that's what's left of my, like, this, and this, you know, like, and there's a couple of, like, sort of side things they could do, and maybe they will, and, you know, but after that, it's up to them kind of how every one of these beats develop a little bit.
Yeah.
And their interactions with it.
Like, in Star Wars, I obviously have planets you're going to go to, and I have things on those planets. I don't really know how you're gonna handle things most of the time.
Yeah.
Because some people in the party are a little chaotic. Like the lady in the fortress she was gonna talk to you, but someone said, "Nah, I don't want to fight," and then she just fought you and died.
Yeah.
I didn't really plan for her to like fight that quickly. It's actually kind of a good thing you did, because she was maybe deleting information from a terminal while talking.
Well, it's the thing that, like, obviously you have to look to what your players feel like is enough or too much plot too, and it's something that it's not easy to do on that end, because what could be too much, too little plot for one group might be just the right amount for another group. Just think of, like, you don't want to act on your own. No. I think that's the best way of, like, saying how when you're doing too much stuff on your own, that's when you're developing plot that's too much. Like, if you're role-playing with yourself constantly, like, a couple of conversations between NPCs is okay, just don't have it all the time.
Yeah, I tend to do plot points where you fucks are going to talk to the NPCs. I'm not talking to my own NPCs most of the time. I'll do it, because I've done it occasionally.
Yeah, sometimes it's needed.
It's needed sometimes, but usually I design my games in such a way that the party will be the ones moving this forward. Yeah. I won't be. I've been in games where it was the NPCs moving the plot forward.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel great.
No.
It felt a little weird.
Yeah, I think it's like the complexity of the story too. I think that's a big part of this plot too. Like, you don't want a story to be so simple that, like, it's not going to involve people, but, like, don't make it so complex that, like, it's just going to be boring. Like, I think the best way to describe it is, like, honestly comparing it to, like, something maybe like Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. It's all of its story and plot is built into shit that you have to choose to read.
Yeah, you actually have to choose to read the plot of Dark Souls.
So, kind of build that in a way that that's the players. When players make checks, they learn something. When they decide to do something, they learn something. You know, don't just shove it all in their face. Granted, sometimes some things are needed to shove in their face, but save those for occasions where they're going to do something either really stupid or they are completely lost.
Yeah, like, I will always give the most basic information for free, but anything else I need to roll. And the most basic information is sometimes ain't helpful.
Like, honestly, the fun with overthinking, good example this week, the amount of overthinking you had on Speak with Dead.
God, that was so funny.
You guys overthought that to the extreme.
So funny.
It was like you actually, like, early on you were going through questions and you actually, like, hit up all these important questions and then you moved beyond them to other questions and I'm like, God, you're super overthinking this.
It's because, like, Speak with Dead is just a hard spell, and then if we like mess it up, we have to wait a week. So we're like, we need to, like, think of really good questions, and then we fucked it.
I thought of a way that I could have made it so much simpler, like, to a half degree, because honestly, if the guy that you were attacking, he has something on him that, like, would have been a piece of evidence that even if you capture him, you get the most information. There's a couple, like, side routes. We're not going to, like, go on about them. If you kill him, honestly, you could try Speak with Dead, but he's very hostile.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, like, the chance, like, and he has a pretty decent will save, so it's sort of like whether or not you get the truth out of him. But he's also got a piece of paper on him. It could have fallen out of his pocket.
Yeah.
I could have just, and granted, that's not the full information, but it could have added a little bit to that and helped out with the questions on the dude.
Yeah.
Because he had a list of names that included Rowena Kellett, who's crossed off, and Corvin. Because it turns out Rowena Kellett You're not going to find this out. She's very dead.
I mean, I assumed she was dead.
Oh, she was assassinated and dumped in the dumped with rocks under the piers. Her body is still down below the piers somewhere.
Yeah, I assumed as much.
Yeah. She was kind of like the central part in the information gathering section, and then would use Corvin to ferry that information to the main alchemist lady, who then communicated with you don't know who. Maybe the Chilaxians. Probably the Chilaxians. Maybe someone else.
Most likely the Chilaxians.
Honestly, they're not going to be like... It's the Chilaxians. They're not going to, like...
I'll be honest.
You a curveball of someone else. It's fine.
There's a reason why I bought a very specific poison from this lady. I bought Grey Justice, which makes them have to tell the truth. So I'm gonna try my hardest to make sure Yakul leaves her alive, but I can't guarantee that because it's Yakul.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest right now. Just a little spoiler. She was at 8 hit points.
Yeah. So
and you overcame her stone skin.
I figured I had one of two ideas. Either shoot her with a gun I know wouldn't kill her outright, or I use my gun that's loaded with dragon's breath shells and just clear the hallway.
Yeah, it's with how things are set up, I'm gonna have to. I am still gonna have to play things by round. Almost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because,
because we're actively pursuing her and she is actively trying to escape.
You can still run into dangers around you, traps and other encounters that might delay you. And that will make a difference at this point in time. Also, I have to remember that, I'm going to have you, probably find a catch of some magic items that are going to be equivalent to what the assassin and she had on her, just some customized things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just maybe some extra things in a chest she's not going to bring with her or something because it's too big and she didn't think to grab it quickly.
Yeah.
Sort of grab what you can and run kind of things.
Because if we can catch this woman, there are multiple ways I can ensure she is telling the truth.
Yeah.
If she's alive. If she's dead, I have no way of guaranteeing she's telling the truth.
At this point in time, I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's probably easier to chase her than it was easy to chase the assassin. Because honestly, the assassin made plans to escape into alleys in the city, where there's a lot of people. Which is a smart thing, use crowds and stuff to make it hard to track someone. And it really, honestly, the thing is, you did a really good roll, and it was still pretty difficult, but you still would have been tracking for a while. As soon as he got out to crossing into streets and stuff like that, the DC, because there's so many people, jumps so high.
Yeah.
It's still possible, and you rolled really high.
Yeah, I rolled a 32 or something.
Yeah, but it's kind of closer to in that point in time because it's already a really high DC to track on paved roads. Honestly, dry paved roads are really hard to track on. Honestly, at that point in time, it gets up closer to 40 DC and stuff like that.
Because I haven't used any of my spells yet from this most recent level, I'm considering taking the spell that lets me gain the scent of an injured target. But I have to consider if I want that one or if I want the other one. Because Confess is also really good. Confess is if you don't tell the truth, you're gonna take physical damage.
Damien is a good girl.
Damien is good.
I mean, she's been trying to pee around places, but it might be she's just getting old and harder to get the litter boxes.
That's fair. But yeah,
I just hope I use the bathroom.
I have plans
and
for Tyrant.
But I think that like the tangent of like talking a little bit about that is like I was still able to get the plot across, but it was a little bit of a challenge, and like there were ways you can make it easier, and like it's not always easy to get the plot across, but you also like you don't want to like just there's a difference between heavy-handing and light-handing things, and you oftentimes want to err on light-handing things, because if you heavy-hand things, you're beginning to force stuff down the people's throats, kind of thing, you know. And
it's a balance you have to strike, because you don't want to hold your players' hands too much. You want to let them figure things out and parse it together, especially if they're investigating stuff.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they don't remember things, especially between weeks, and then you have to be like, it's not always easy to remind them. It's like, hey, there was this plot point that happened the other week, and you should remember that, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to remember everything that happens in the game. Notes help, but they don't, like, you don't note everything down.
No. I think it's just a thing that, like, you gotta trust a lot of times that, you know, the story you build will work as long as you let it work.
Yeah.
As long as you know, granted, there are times where you can have issues with players and things like that, and that's always going to come up, and you might have more problematic players than others. Trust as your players as a whole are going to kind of follow the basics of the plot as you lay it out in front of them. You know, you don't have to heavy-hand it. You don't have to give a bajillion details. You don't have to write a story that is like an epic poem and present it to them. You know, you don't have to have a crazy exposition dump in front of them between two NPCs. Bread trails, not giant feasts.
Yeah.
Gotta think of it that way. You know, don't... There are certain times you can just leave really big clues out in front of them, and just, like, then they should be able to get it. But it's sort of like, it's... When the situation screams, this should be obvious, then make it obvious. If it's like, what the hell is going on here? And they have to think about it, let them... And like, you know, maybe just let them roll, like, investigation or perceptions or searches or whatever edition you're... version of that from whatever edition you're doing.
In Star Wars that has been helpful at me getting some plot across is Lightning's character Ravshai can see the auras of people and how they're aligned. So that's helped me have a little bit of an easier time clarifying to at least one person, this person might not be trustable because they are perhaps too aligned one way or the other.
Yeah, that can help, you know, getting an idea of judgment of a character. And honestly, like, I always feel like...
Yes.
They're always 100% clear that...
I would hope the plot is 100% clear to the DM.
I mean, like,
That'd be weird
again,
if it wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, like, I will tell you, there are times when the plot of a game is not 100% clear to me.
Yeah, Wrath.
But, like, even then, it's still, like, 80 to 90% clear to me. And
it's
honestly...
like high enough.
It's high enough, and usually then I have at least, like... It's because that's what I do. I do the outline. I have this outline of things that I want to happen in a game, you know, and you just let the players kind of...
a little bit of, I guess, back detail into my little Cyberpunk game I'm running. Not actual Cyberpunk, it's just the genre. I have specifically written down what you will do at these levels, and when you do enough of them, you will become the next level, and then these will open up. Because it's a short game, I can do that, and it feels mostly fine. You're also investigating stuff, so as you investigate more, enough will become clear enough. You could obviously do all of it and get a much bigger picture of what's going on, but you can just get enough to progress your investigation. And you guys have been progressing really fast. Faster than I was expecting.
Well, I think it's also like, I gotta be
You
honest.
guys have been getting some good rolls.
Good rolls.
Making the good assumptions.
And, like, I feel like not to work on certain other characters at all, but, like, I feel like I tend to, like, seriously just push the plot forward a lot of times. I'm just like, hey, what's going on here? Like, can we do plot stuff here? What's the information I can find? Let's talk to these people nicely.
Cell's character's been doing it a bit too now.
Cell's character's been a real help. Between the two of us, it's been very helpful.
You got a boomer old man who's grumpy, and you got a snake who doesn't like working.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, the snake that doesn't like working still helps here.
She's very useful.
But it's sort of like, for pushing plot forward, it's
is
not really there the same way.
Yeah. Because, like, I'll be honest, you guys are going to have a bit of downtime coming up, because I have to go through and do a bunch of the NPC roles and stuff for theirs. Because you've given them stuff to look at, so I have to give them roles and shit.
Yeah.
For what information they can fully glean from it. So they're not going to give you everything for free. So you are going to have probably like a week of downtime. You could continue your investigation and other things, or you could just go fuck around. I have plenty of stuff in the city that you could do.
Yeah, I mean, it's options. Well, again, it kind of ends up the same way as, like, I'll say it's sort of like in, but I gotta say it's in technically both games where I've got characters that you run that I feel like I've got characters that try to push plot forward.
Yeah.
I guess it's like one of those things is like, I have had characters that do less. Like, Badger wasn't really a plot forward kind of person.
Badger wasn't the plot pusher.
But Badger would have been like, oh, there's some plot happening. Sure, let's go do that.
There's some plot over here.
I'm okay with going up for plot. That sounds fun. I feel like that was always the direction I at least felt like doing a lot of times.
Yeah,
like,
most characters I play, I don't tend to play a quote-unquote leader, or the one who pushes things forward, but, like, if I have to, I will become that role, because I had to for Legacy, or Records, the game I wasn't in. By circumstance I had to, because lack of players, and then characters. And then Wrath I don't, because most of what they do has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I'm just there, vibing, being disappointed in their decisions.
That is oftentimes what will happen.
I mean, Cole is there taking notes to potentially give to some powerful people if they go evil to deal with.
Perhaps this like level 18 planeswalker who has a lot of friends.
Yeah, he can get people to go and just beat the shit out of them. It's not my problem.
Yeah. And honestly, most of the threat of a certain someone I removed already. Fortunately.
Yeah. She's mostly fine. We have the other one to worry about.
Well, I also removed most of his threat too.
True, he doesn't have nukes anymore.
He doesn't have nukes. He can't set himself up to nuke the universe if he dies.
God, what a fucking weird plan. What a plan.
You don't threaten your DM.
No, you don't. You just don't threaten to nuke the world.
Yeah, no, it causes issues. It has to make me make drastic choices.
Yeah. Like Viren / Roland in the Edwin game wasn't really the one doing anything. She had a lot of weird shit to deal with and was just kind of following you lot around. My wizard helped with none of the plot because all those PCs were just assholes to me, so I didn't want to help them.
Yeah,
honestly, they were just dicks. Misty, good example. I'll suggest things for the plot and how to pursue it. I'm not the deciding voice. I just give suggestions. I don't push for anything specifically.
I think it's like the thing of like you've made a very good crew as a side note, for how they work together for Buccaneers. Like, yes, you have a captain who's, like, honestly in charge of the decisions, but that captain digresses for, like, 90% of the decisions to Revia, who then also kind of asks everybody else what they think, too. So, like,
We have a good council of advisors.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And I could throw the occasional NPC who's technically an officer that's there for the meeting that you forgot was there for the meeting, just to, like, be like, I want to say something to you.
I mean, that dwarf is always there somewhere.
He just shows up.
He's got like 30 stealth.
He has a lot of stealth, and he just, like, shows up and just,
He's just always watching.
And he just, like, slinks out of, like, secret passages you didn't even know were in your boat. It's like,
all trapdoors into the ship everywhere.
It's like, when did you do that? It's always been there.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I like that dwarf. I don't use him enough.
It's a good character.
I gotta level up so many people. I didn't finish certain things that I probably should finish, honestly, so they could be used. Like, out of the main mercenaries, I still have a couple more to finish their characters for.
Like, you know, I could theoretically finish them, but I'm busy.
Yeah.
I work.
I
have an 8-hour day job.
I'll work on it at some point in time.
We don't really need them, but they do come up sometimes.
Well, it's sort of like I should probably, like, level up the main NPCs just because they're, like, your level.
The most important one is Sandra, because she's the one that heals us.
Yes.
Oh shit, I have to level up Rio. Fuck.
Sandra and Conkabar, because everybody loves a bard.
Bards are so good. I have to level up an Oracle.
Yeah, like, two of them are technically with another boat somewhere and may or may not show up again.
They've got other things to do, like pirating.
Yeah, you might have assigned them to be, like, pirates on their own boat or something, and then I don't have to worry about them any much, and I kind of separate them off into, like, other boat.
They'll do other things.
Yeah.
In the world. They'll make us passive income.
Yeah. I'll just, like, every week roll something and be like, there's some passive income.
Yeah, every week here's X amount of plunder at home base.
Yeah. It'll be a thing. It'll be cool, interesting. That's not a bad way of doing things. I can set that up, kind of. But,
I think Buccaneers is a good example of a decent plot.
Yeah.
It's just, it's enough plot to push forward and enough side quests to keep it entertaining.
It's sort of like the main plot technically revolves around we're becoming better pirates, and also we're becoming better pirates in the sense of members of the Shackles Pirate Council and stuff like that. So it's sort of like the plot revolves all around that, but it's sort of like, oh hey, you've met this lady who's a member of the Pirate Council. She's like, you help me out with this big old kind of like side questy thing, and you're getting in good with the Pirate Council, and you're like, well, that's probably a good idea to get in good with the Pirate Council, you know, and maybe with whoever is going to be the next Hurricane King, because, you know, the one of them might not be there for long because everybody hates him.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. He's got a weird hand.
He does. I don't know why he's got skeletal hand. I think it's detailed somewhere, and I haven't read up on it.
He should just be dead.
He's got bone hand. It's like a curse or something.
It's a freak.
Yeah. Yeah, I got some issues there. Your hand's a little skeletally.
Yeah, you know, that's fine. Maybe.
I mean, that's why he's called Bone Fist.
True. It's a cool name.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, it's like a lot of them pirates. They technically have, like, weird names that are directly related to, like, whatever they do. Like, you know, Blackbeard. He had a black beard, technically.
I mean, Yakul's name changes occasionally.
He does change. He does change his title a bunch.
He does change very occasionally.
I don't pay enough attention to what these titles are, though.
It's just like that he was the Indomitable for a while, then he got his ass kicked and he became the Dominable.
I missed that one there. I like that. Oh. Yakul is just...
We're gonna fix him. Well, most of him. He'll still have 9 charisma, but we can deal with that later.
Yeah, I mean,
we just have to figure out how to get him to wear the headband.
And be less angry. He does seem to have some, like, I'll splatter some people issues.
Get him some therapy.
Yeah. You can't get him the same therapy as Carrie. That was...
No, that's God therapy. That's not really available for you.
Yeah. He's not.
Can't speed run it.
He can't speedrun it. He doesn't have like a effective god in which to visit and
Yep.
Hi, I'm an incarnation of nature. I can give you therapy. Sure.
Call it the captain's crown. That's a good idea, actually.
The
All captains of the ships wear all pirate captains wear one of these.
You should put it under their hats.
Yeah, it's usually hidden.
Mm-hmm. So if you take off your hat, the other captains can see it as a mark of, your strength. As you tip your hat.
God. He will have 10 intelligence one day.
It might help.
My God, I hope.
Not sure on that one, honestly. What can help with that cool? That's a question I don't know.
I gave him a gun. He hasn't used it yet. I'm terrified for when he does.
He does have a bunch of guns.
He has a blunderbuss. It's loaded with fire bullets.
I gotta be honest, that assassin dude, so much better at killing off that crow guy as the gunslinger.
It's almost like guns are just powerful.
He's, in ways, I think he was worse afterwards, but that, first, initial assassination hit felt a lot more deadly than it actually was originally.
Yeah. That poor Kenku. Or not Kenku, Tengu.
Yeah, he
got shot.
He got shot and poisoned. He was very dead.
Yeah. And then we just put him in a salt barrel to keep talking to him.
Pickle the poor man!
I said just take his skull, but no. They wanted to keep the rest of his body. Then just thrown into the ocean.
I wasn't going to stop them, but I wasn't really going to support them either, because it's kind of like well, that was a thing you did.
Alright, Diffrel, calm down. You'll look at the war crimes, so you won't stop them, I get it.
I'm the DM. I can't do anything about your war crimes. Well, maybe I can.
We have a week in tabletop we could talk about, I guess.
Yeah, I guess let's talk about a week in tabletop. So, work with your players, build your plot.
Yeah.
Just don't ham-fist it into their faces. That's the ultimate lesson.
Don't Kojima your plot.
Yes. That's a great way of saying it. Don't Kojima your plot.
Don't make your plot so weird that you have to just explain all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had a week in tabletop.
We did.
Started with a Sunday, some Cyberpunk.
Yeah. You worked with the Goblin.
We did.
You worked with Crime Goblin, and you went and did some killing. And raided a chop shop for people again. There were 2 of those. You've dealt with them. You took prisoners this time.
We did.
Those will need to be interrogated. And then you all went to a party for rich people.
We did.
And then you talked to a very old dragon lady who just really misses killing things. She's not the smartest person.
No, she seems nice. A little murdery, but nice.
Then you met a smarter dragon whose age I misread. He is not 600 years old. He is 1600 years old, which is a very big difference.
Yes.
She's an idiot, Lightning. She maybe got smarter, but she's still dumb.
Yeah.
She also may have been drunk.
Probably was drunk.
But you talked to 2 dragons. You got a little bit of information about some stuff, and now Cell has to talk to his mom.
And I got the best fashion ever.
You are just impressing people with your fashion. Hey, the super old Kitsune mom liked the gift because turns out her sire hung out with halflings a lot.
Mm-hmm. Look, I'm not saying that, family does the job, but family does the job. As Vin Diesel will eternally still...
The meme.
Look, I'm fine with the meme. It actually weirdly works out in some ways.
It's a good meme that's not disruptive.
Yeah, that I've just made basically Vin Diesel from Fast and Furious, my uncle. And,
yeah.
But also as a halfling.
This started as a joke in a different campaign, and now it's canon.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I thought it would have been interesting to, if I could have show up for stuff too occasionally. I don't know.
Yeah, he's in the city. You could go talk to him.
I might have to at some point. He's a good man who helps out his family.
Yeah. You could introduce him to everyone.
Uncle Dom, we're in trouble. Villains have done something. We need some backup.
Street racers.
we need some backup.
He actually has a gang.
I honestly probably wouldn't call it a gang. It's family.
It's a bunch of family members with guns and cars.
Mm-hmm. You do have a giant snake lady too.
Yeah, you do have a giant snake woman who hits on everyone.
That does happen a lot.
Don't hit on his uncle. That's weird. Don't crush his uncle.
Tiny buff halfling. Look, we already have a tiny buff goblin man. We can have a tiny buff halfling man.
You have a little buff goblin man. He's a man and he does things.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter may or may not be a criminal.
Yeah.
He's also technically not a cop, so.
Yeah, technically not a cop.
He is the chattest goblin.
So it was good times on Sunday. Good times, as we expected. And then Tuesday, I guess, would have been next.
Tuesday would have been next. You did things. You went to Moncala, I think, was what you did. You talked to people there. You vaguely told some rebels about the problem going on.
Yeah, we should probably tell them more, but I feel like it's like one of those things.
One of them, the fishman, kind of listened.
Look, people complain when I told people too much stuff, but I'm like, this probably should be known by people.
This one might be important.
Yeah, the genocidal lady probably should be told to them.
Yeah. So
but we haven't decided to really involve the rebels yet. Maybe I should tell Beakman first.
Yeah, you should tell Beakman. Still had a date with the Night Sister.
Yeah.
It went awkwardly.
Yeah.
But not too awkwardly. And then I don't remember if you went to Osis first or after, but you did go there as well and you talked to a lady.
Yeah.
Beakman is currently gone as well. He will return, but
Beakman's
for a couple of seconds he's gone. Yeah, for a couple of sessions he's gone.
Okay.
You went and talked to another lady who knows information, and she gave you some information. Good decision to talk to her, because you learned, don't kill the evil person before you destroy the mask.
That was very good.
You didn't find out why, but it's maybe a good idea to break the mask first.
Well, I actually have some guesses to perhaps why, just because of information we learned. That the mask may or may not have a fragment of a certain someone's spirit in them, and perhaps if you would kill the person first, that spirit may take over a body and resurrect. That seems like a bad idea.
That does seem like a horrible.
That feels like what my character would guess after the information we were provided.
That's a fair guess. I will say nothing. And then, you went to Oz first. And you talked to people there. You learned things. Someone pissed off a bunch of birds. Someone befriended some birds, and someone shot a bird on a ship.
There were a lot of bird deaths.
Those poor birds.
Yeah.
Then a character was swapped out for a little bit. I believe Ravsha will return. This is mainly because that character is super pissed at someone in the party still.
Give it a second. What's up?
What time
but yeah.
Don't know yet. Hi.
Me and my dad were wondering if we could take your car to Taco Bell.
That was why
They're
Rav
going out
left,
now, go
right?
ahead.
Because you were just pissed at the demon man,
What?
right, Lightning?
Oh, man, like...
Just ask Lightning if the main reason was because Rav was just pissed at the demon man. So I know that was part of the reason we had our little chat about it. Anyways, that's not important.
I can really understand.
Partly, yeah. You got a Mandalorian in the party now.
Mm-hmm.
She's cool.
Yeah. We're just,
And you're on a big old forest planet in the middle of the galaxy, full of flesh raiders. If you play the Star Wars MMO, you know what planet I'm talking about.
Yeah, we bombed the shit out of a bunch of them. Was that the best idea? I don't know.
It was an idea.
Our guy, our one character told us that it was both good and bad to not bomb them.
Yeah. It's almost like perhaps they're just gonna attack you anyways.
Yeah.
Because they're flesh raiders and they do not speak Galactic Basic and cannot communicate with you in any way.
Yeah, they could communicate. No, probably not.
I don't think you speak a thousands of year-old language.
Yeah.
That's long dead, to be fair. If someone knows the equivalent of tongues, you could talk to them, but I don't think anyone's high enough level for that. But yeah, you're there. You're gonna go explore that planet. It's gonna be fun, maybe, or you'll die. I don't know.
It'll probably.
You probably won't die because, like, honestly, it's hard to kill a 5e character. It's harder to kill a Star Wars 5e character.
I can see that. Like, it's honestly, that's one of those things. It's like, I've said that, like, you know, Kaz is not immortal. He's just harder to kill, and I'm like, it's honestly like, it's like one of those things. Is like I say that, and I'm like, it's a 5e character. He's already really hard to kill.
Yeah, but like I went through and I'm designing the other 3 Inquisitors currently. I've got 2 of them done because they're probably going to be boss fights at some point.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, they're cool. Some of them got cool abilities that are fun.
Honestly, you know, it's that weird thing. I don't mind combat in it, but also, like, we don't. It's sort of like, the more I've been playing, the more I'm like, honestly, I'm not really great at combat.
No, you're not. You're probably better casting spells.
Yeah, force powers are much better for me, it seems like.
Yeah, you're squishy and you don't have a high to hit.
No, and like my hit's not much different than anybody else's. It's just like, apparently I just can't roll for shit.
You and Cell can't roll in this game.
Like Cell, if he just hits, he'll just like a bajillion damage.
Yeah, if Cell can hit, he will deal a lot of damage in a single turn. He just can't hit. We had Wednesday, which we briefly talked about.
Yeah, we did talk about Wednesday. It was pretty much more of spy work. You were going to talk to Corvin.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, there's a possibility of not having him assassinated. When you chose to basically, like, honestly lie to him and be like, hey, we're working for the people in charge of this city. He was going to come out to you. He was paranoid and hiding, basically, in his house.
What you're saying is his death is Revia's fault.
Yeah. Or,
yes, Revia.
Revia.
That's so weird. Ravshai is a different universe.
They're so close in my brain.
I get it. It's like Cole, Claude, and Carrion. I understand. And Kazarin.
It's so much. My brain just can't handle it. But yeah, Revia basically... Honestly, like... There were opportunities to
never
assassinate
expecting
him.
that man to live.
There were opportunities to, like, get him assassinated along the way, and honestly, like, there was chances, depending on, like, how the conversation would go, that, like, he would open the door, or he'd try to get away from you, or stuff like that. And if you guys had thrown open the door, like, you know, to, like, chase after him, he would have been in view enough to get shot, you know, because the person had been, like, had basically, like, a really hard shot and was taking aim when he first opened the door. The person had been watching the door and been like, oh, okay, come on, show yourself. I can see you there. You're almost in view. And then So like there were some other possibilities for how that would have gone, but it went, I think, okay.
Yeah, it went fine.
He died.
You got the information.
He got the information. He only had to talk with the corpse like 4 times.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, the what's your job for the
I knew that one was a bad idea.
Yeah, what's your job for? Well, no, actually, the big one it should have been was, what's your job other than being a smuggler? And the answer would have been messenger.
There was a lot of mistakes were made, but it worked out.
Yeah, you managed to get it. It's like I did have to like prod it at least once with
a full assault on a potion shop, basically.
The decision you made to provoke her.
Here's the thing. I didn't think we were going to provoke her. I assumed we were going in to talk about potions and get a layout of the place, leave, and then come back. But no one told me we were going in there to kill them immediately. I was not informed of that.
That was not a good plan. Like, as I said, like, I took a look at that and I'm like, if Cell hadn't been blocking the door with that spell.
Yes, we would have died.
Yeah. Those were all like CR, like
fighter
6.
rogues.
Those were fighter rogues, and they were like level 6.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to fight them all at once, honestly.
Now, I could have escaped because I have escape spells. Yeah. The rest of them would have died.
That's the thing is, like, there's 2 in a front room where you were, 2 in that back hall, and 2 asleep. At most, you really would only have to, like, you made it that you had to deal with all of them at once, and her.
My assumption was, right, we were going to, like, go in, get the rundown of, like, at least the first floor in the shop layout, leave, come back at night, either pick the door or someone, like, stone shape a door in, and then start vaguely stealthing our way through.
That would have been a good plan.
But no, that wasn't the plan that Revia decided.
Revia decided to be like, so, about those spies.
So, about that spying, which is punishable by death.
Yeah. Spying is, like... there are some high-class crimes that are crimes everywhere in the Shackles, and spying is one of them.
Yes.
I think it's the idea that, like, spying is so bad because it's sort of like it counts as a betrayal. That's why all the pirate captains everywhere hate it. It's not just spying from other nations. Like, the idea of being a spy means you're betraying your captain. It's effectively akin to mutiny.
Yeah.
So that's why it's highly illegal.
Yeah. I got to learn through this that my dumb character build, specifically around me avoiding taking a feat I think is kind of shit, rapid reload, because it only applies to a single gun, works. Because I just have a lot of guns on me that I can shoot.
Yeah.
I don't need to rapid reload when I have 4 guns.
No, honestly, that's actually been one of, like, the choices for a build or something,
My god. Rapid reload is, like... It's good if you just want one gun, but there are so many circumstances where you need more than one gun, because they're so versatile and different.
Well, that's why it was, like, really hard to actually build that, gunslinger.
Yeah.
I had to make him the musketeer, because then he could... Then, with cartridges and rapid reload, he could reload as a free action.
Yep.
A musket.
But you could have done, because, he probably had swift actions he could do.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'd have to do him specifically as the musketeer.
Yeah, that was, like, the only thing I could do to make his build work.
Because there's, like, the item that I had that lets you swift action reload, but that takes up a swift action, which there are many swift actions in Pathfinder that you can do.
Well, that's the thing is, if you reduce it enough with rapid reload, it does become a free action, so that way you can full round attack with it. And the musketeer is the only way to get it for, like, a musket.
Yeah.
Which, again, that was a hard rebuild, I have to say. Like, it was interesting, and it added more guns to the entire thing, because I wanted to add that, but that was, like, the most challenging out of all of these.
Guns being more prevalent is definitely something that should because I know it's optional.
Yeah.
You can run it as a standard, more fantastical weapons kind of thing. But pirates have guns.
again, it's just a lot of it's pretty easy. It's sort of like just equip this guy with a gun, or like the figurehead that you fought was originally a figurehead that had a ballista, and you're just like replace it with a cannon. Okay, that's both good and bad. It does more damage, but it criticals less technically, or something.
Yeah, it does more damage. It's technically harder to reload.
Yeah. It wasn't going to fire it again after it fought the one.
Yeah, I assume so.
I think it was just going to smack you with it or something.
Yeah, and it died because I was using fire on it.
Yeah, that did a lot of damage.
We didn't have Wrath. We missed Wrath, right?
Yes, because we were down. I could have run Wrath, honestly, as I was saying about it, but like with you were busy day, and also like
Fish was on vacation. I was like, I as soon as like you called Wrath, I just went to bed and passed out.
Yeah, and I knew that Mads wasn't feeling great either. She was saying that she wasn't, so I was like, yeah, if we're not feeling great, let's not bother. Let's just.
I did have something on Friday.
Oh, Friday.
We had session 1 of a game Cell is running. I am playing a definitely normal human. Lightning's in the chat, so I can't actually say what I'm playing. Although I think Lightning knows, but we'll get to why Lightning knows in a moment. There's a Goliath, Twilight Cleric. I'm playing a Blood Hunter, which is a weird homebrew class. Lightning's playing a human witch, human quote unquote. Because I think Lightning might be something else. They're playing a witch, which is again another custom class, and then we have a ranger halfling. So like most of the party is around 6 foot tall. The halfling's 2 foot tall. Yeah, so the halfling is the only short person in the party. We went and talked to some rich dude, basically, and got a quest.
Nice.
So I'm playing a weird thing. I don't need to eat, drink, or sleep, or breathe. Lightning's the only one who decided to question that. And rolled a natural 20 on the history check. And then that led to like an hour, like 30 minutes of Cell not knowing how to like deal with that and having to do some private messaging. And now I'm pretty sure Lightning knows what my character is.
I have been there where like it's like
because I was gonna reveal it next session anyways, because I don't hide that stuff for more than one session.
I've been in that situation where like something gets known through a check a little like early or a little crazier than you'd think, and then you have to figure kind of out what you're doing.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure no one else watches this show, but
probably not.
I don't think Mercury or Cell watch this. And Cell might actually. Cell's a DM, and I don't think the other guy does.
No.
Lightning more or less kind of, I think, figured out I'm basically playing technically someone who's undead, kind of. Which is fun to figure that one out. Because I got a whisper from Lightning, like partway into the game, it was like, "You undead motherfucker," just as a whisper, and I was like, that roll, that 20, huh?
20. It's like sometimes like that's the problem that sometimes I feel like with dice rolls.
Funny. It's
like,
kind of funny.
Someone will roll a 20 and you're like, but I don't have anything more.
Yeah, because it's like Saul and I didn't know, because Saul and I never considered this a possibility, so we never set a DC.
Like even like if you like set a DC or something like this DC 15 check, give you all this information, then like someone like gets like a.
That 20 broke Cell for like 40 minutes.
Sometimes they can just roll like so much higher, and you're like, but I don't have any more information from you. The DC was so low. I'm glad you rolled well, but you were like virtually gonna get it anyway.
The Lightning knows what I am. Everyone else is like sus of my character currently, because there's like, who the fuck is this weirdo? Like not eating or drinking anything, and apparently not breathing. Wakes up at like 4 hours of sleep, who's apparently a human. Humans need 8 hours of sleep. That's weird. It's a fun game so far. I like it.
Neat.
Cell definitely immediately, I think, learned that being a DM means having to deal with 4 Chaos Gremlins.
Look, I've got to admit, like, even Fish and Mads aren't the worst Chaos Gremlins I've dealt with.
No.
Like, they are like...
Definitely Lightning and I don't take our chaos too far.
Like, I have dealt with Chaos Gremlins in the past. I have not had to deal with a bad Chaos Gremlin in a while that I don't mind to. And even the worst ones haven't been that bad in comparison. So I've been fine with it. For at least a little while here.
I also love that Cell expected no one to ask any questions. And then I just, basically, accidentally gaslit him into thinking I was never going to ask any questions. I started asking questions about the world. I could tell it made him happy. We did meme in that game a little bit. But, mostly in chat and not interrupting the DM saying things, which is important.
Yes.
That was Friday. I'm very excited because it's a new game. I love Bloodhunter as a class. And I'm excited to see Cell do some DMing.
Yeah. Honestly, the more sometimes people you can DM with, the better.
It means less games I have to run and more games I can be a player in.
Honestly, I still have to think. I keep thinking I want to organize more stuff, but it's sort of like after the hunt. I think the hunt for Buccaneers was a kind of a discouragement in it. But again, I just have to. It's just Pathfinder, yeah.
It's mostly just a high-level Pathfinder game.
It's difficult.
5e is much easier to pull people for.
Yeah, 5e or some of the other systems probably would be easier to pull people for. It's it's just Pathfinder has especially Pathfinder First Edition just has I know it has a stigma about it, so
it's just people I think get a weird impression of it because it's a bit older and it has the stigma of it's a bit bloated.
Yep.
But if you have a DM who can guide you through it, the bloat's not too bad.
Just future stuff. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it for this week. I think it was a good week. We got some topics in.
Yeah.
We had some nice discussion on your plot and you. I mean, it ended up being a little bit more generalistic plot discussion, but definitely the main issue with plot, I gotta be honest, too much plot's worse than too little plot in a way.
Yes.
Too little plot.
Too much plot can be just too overwhelming. Too little plot is you can still have a fun time, but too much plot is too overwhelming.
Too little plot, they can just
they can make their own fun.
Yeah, they can investigate more or just choose to do things that are related to whatever the hell they want.
30 plot hooks for one thing? Nah, dude. That's too many. Have 4.
Yeah. If you have too little plot, it can feel really... I can see that too, if you kind of railroad yourself with, minimalistic plot. That can happen also.
Yeah.
But that's, railroading can happen in either direction there.
Railroading sometimes just happens.
Yep.
Sometimes it just kind of has to happen. They could feel fine. I've never really railroaded people, but I design my games in such a way that I don't have to.
It's occasionally I've had to do stuff, and it's just normally people miss obvious things that it's really hard to get back or
players are dumb.
Sometimes you just gotta ham fist, and it's not always easy to do it in a reasonable way. You try to, basically. And that's a thing called improvisation, because sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't, and it's just a matter of trying your best.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody. Yeah. You can certainly if you mess up, just think about it afterwards, and you be
how could I do this a little better?
Yeah.
Next time.
Next time you can actually try to do that better.
DMing is a learning experience, and you never stop learning.
Yeah. That's for sure. I will be back at least on Monday. I don't know what my Monday schedule is for sure. We should be good for both games next week. We're on schedule currently for it. If something comes up, I'll let people know, Discord and Twitter. Momo, do you have anything you need a shout out?
Dying. No, I'm good. Sorry, I choked on some water.
Okay. Yeah. My big schedule is I'll probably do some new stuff. I gotta be honest, I'll try to finish up Civ 6. I've been trying to finish Civ 6 for a bit here now, and just mixed bag on doing that. Apparently, Russia doesn't want to be cultural dominated in that game. They just insist on like having their own culture. Whatever. And other stupid stuff. But yeah, I'll try to finish that up. I wanted to finish that up like days ago. It's just been like I might default to just doing the science victory at some point in time just to get it out of the way.
It is the easiest victory.
I wanted to get the diplomatic one, but like the other people are just keep voting to have me like lose points. So now I decided to murder a couple of cultures because then they can't.
Do you want to know the cheese for doing a diplomatic victory?
Murder all the cultures down to one person and then diplomatic.
So as long as you vote on something and it passes, you get a diplomatic point.
Yeah, but I've reached the point in time where they vote down me losing 2 points.
So you've hit the point where it's like, nah, you can't.
So I stay even. So I win the 2, and then they make me lose 2, so I stay even. So yeah. That's why I'm also now murdering a couple other civilizations. And they don't have enough political power to do that anymore. Fuck them.
Good old conquest.
Yeah, I have giant death robots. They don't. I maxed out technology like 50 years ago and been doing like the reusable ones. Like the closest other civilization is still like 13 technologies behind maximum. I've been trying to go for the diplomatic just to get that as a victory since I haven't gotten that one ever.
It's like the hardest victory, I think.
I can see that. I understand why now. Because you almost do have to combine it with the military victory and be like, well, I've conquered everybody else but one. Who's voting for these things? Up me and you? I guess I win.
Yep. Wow, we should end it.
Yeah, I'm going to press stop now. So, everybody, bye, everybody.